Hello and welcome to the Tinley Park Chamber of Commerce cable TV show. My name is Joe Ficaro. I am a member of the Chamber's Board of Directors, a past president, and I work with the Chicago Southland Convention and Visitors Bureau with membership development. I am pleased to have with us once again representatives from the Crisis Center for South Suburbia. And well, maybe before I should do that, I should say Happy New Year. Hope the holidays were good to you and that this winter is not too brutal on all of us. But again, back to the Crisis Center, we have with us Chris Beele, who is a Special Events Coordinator, and Karen Leluga, who is the Director of Resource Development. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure to have you here. And in these trying times, there are so many people who are challenged by life in general, but certain circumstances, and you are here to tell some of them some of the things that may remedy or assist them to get through some of their challenges. But Chris or Karen, I'm not sure who planned on talking first, but if you would maybe tell us briefly, about yourself, what you do with the Crisis Center, and then we'll talk about the different programs.
Sure, great. Well, as a special events coordinator, my goal is to try to raise awareness for the center and the services that we provide, and is most importantly, try to raise funds through special events to cover the costs of those programs. The Crisis Center has been in existence for 35 years and offers a full array of services to victims of domestic violence. I think Karen can cover on some of those. Great, thanks, Joe.
Well, I'm Karen, and I'm the Director of Resource Development. And what I do at the Crisis Center, part of my job is also community relations. So getting out in the community, letting people know what we do, how we can service those in need in the community. And then, of course, Director of Resource Development means helping to raise money for the Crisis Center, because we have 24-hour, 365 days a year service at no charge to those that stay at our shelter. So
yeah, and that can't come cheap. I mean, it's got to be staffed and what have you. There's still utility bills and things to pay for.
Yes,
so
there are.
Understandably. But if we could, let's talk about the different programs, because that's what will benefit people more than anything.
Sure.
So let's start. You said 24-hour service.
Right.
All right. So
correct. We have our main way people find out about us is we have a 24-hour hotline, which is staffed by volunteers and staff 365 days a year. So if anyone is feeling that they're being threatened in possibility of being harmed or their family's being harmed, they can call our 24-hour hotline and get services from the Crisis Center.
24/7.
24/7.
You know, God has blessed those people. That's a challenge to be doing that.
Yes.
Not knowing what's going to be called in or phoned in.
The Crisis Center really couldn't survive without these amazing volunteers.
Right.
And they're all trained. The state requires that they have a full 40-hour training, and there's an additional training program for hotline volunteers, which is very important.
And the center itself. All right, so you get the word out there. Here's what we've got. You've got the 24-hour hotline. Now they need the service. They need to come to the center.
Right, and after they're cleared to come to the center, not everybody can just come to the Crisis Center.
Sure.
We do have space limitations, but it is a 35-bed facility, and they go through a screening process. But there's other services, community counseling services that are offered, court and hospital advocacy programs, dating violence prevention programs. We have that we can have a speaker come to area schools. We do have come to area schools and civic organizations. So there's many services, but primarily it is a emergency shelter and transitional housing.
And it can't hurt to clarify that this is a service for women and children.
Correct.
Even though there may be some men out there who may feel that they're abused, and I won't joke about that.
And through our hotline, which it does happen, and through our hotline program, we do have referral services as well. So we can help find for males that are possibly being abused.
I mean, that can happen.
Absolutely.
That can happen.
Right.
All right, you mentioned the court and hospital advocacy, community counseling services, and
Community policing services.
community policing services. What briefly? What does that entail?
Well, that's we are working with right now 8 to 9 communities and their police departments. Tinley Park Police being one of them, and we're working with them to not only educate their officers but to work together to be able to have a comprehensive program when people within their regions are calling their 911 for domestic violence issues. So it's a growing program with the different police departments in the region. And it's very helpful to those who call into 911.
And I mean, I am familiar, I mean, somewhat with the Tinley Park Police Department, having worked in the community as long as I have. And I imagine all police departments are a big help with that respect.
Absolutely.
Dating violence prevention, I mean, that goes hand in hand.
Right.
That's counseling and what have you as well.
Right, and helping students recognize some warning signs and what is appropriate and what might not be appropriate behavior from someone you're dating.
Yeah, how many times have we heard, but he loves me?
Correct.
Right, I've heard that as well. 35 beds, transitional housing. So, you know, I mean, once you've exceeded the 35 bed capacity, there are other places where people can...
the clients that come into the emergency shelter actually have 30 to 60 days. They work with counselors and through the different issues that might be, you know, for each individual. But the transitional housing is harder to get into, but it's more specialized that they can stay a little bit longer while they can get maybe caught up and create a new life without violence for themselves.
Certainly.
So, and that's a program that would go through after being in residential.
All right. Well, as far as the funding is concerned, we know we've spoken in the past. I mean, you do get government grants.
We do.
Thank God for those. Corporate donations. You've got the resale shops, and we have a couple of minutes in our segment here, so we want to make sure we get some of your fundraising in. Some of the neat repeats in Orland Park and in Worth, we understand that. But what are some of the up-and-coming fundraisers?
Well, our largest fundraiser of the year is coming up on February 22nd. It's held at Silver Lake Country Club, and it is our heart-to-heart dinner dance. And it's a lively, fun event with live and silent auctions, live entertainment by Jimmy O and Rhonda Lee. We have some fantastic artwork from Elliot Fromm, who's famously known for doing that Black Hawk logo. It's shown on WGN in the background. And great artwork from him. We have other donations. We do have sponsorship, which is covering most of our costs, thankfully, from Advocate Christ Hospital and Sheet Metal Works in our diamond sponsors. But we always look for more sponsorships, of course, and attendance. It is open to the public. Tickets are available through our website, or
which is
www.crisisctr.org, or by calling the Crisis Center.
Right, and I see that's 708-429-7255.
Absolutely.
You can like the Crisis Center on Facebook as well. And we have about 30 seconds. So what would you say as a parting gesture to our viewers?
We are a community-based organization, and we wouldn't be able to exist without the support of community businesses and the folks in religious and civic organizations that can help us and help these women and children.
Yes, thank you, Chris and Karen, for being here. And you heard it. Please help out in any way that you can. Spread the word. Well, our next guest is Beth Kopf, who is the art director with the Garden Gallery and Studio located at 175th and Oak Park Avenue in Tinley Park. And Beth, it's a pleasure having you. And we know that the Garden Gallery is doing some great things for different people who have different needs. And if you would, tell our viewers a little bit about yourself, and then we'll tell them as much as we can about the Garden Gallery, all right?
Okay.
So what do you do there?
I'm basically in charge of being creative. So I'm an artist myself, and I constantly, all day, every day, come up with new creative ideas to teach adults with developmental disabilities. I find different things that they're capable of doing depending on their needs and desires. And they create wonderful artwork. They find a voice. It really helps them a lot. They create things, and then I show them in the gallery. I sell them. I promote them. I get them into art shows, and hopefully I make them proud.
All right, now that was like the broad stroke. Well, dare I say the broad brush stroke, because it's pertaining to art. But what are the various services, and how are those services provided, other than what you do?
It's an extension of a day program from Garden Center Services.
Okay.
We teach life skills, we work on goals. Like I said, each person has different needs, and we meet those needs. We're all DSP trained, and
Okay. For the novice, DSP stands for?
Direct Support Person.
Direct Support Person, okay.
Right. So the art program had just, it turned into something different than just a regular day program learning facility. It was changing people's behaviors, it was calming people, and it was just turning into an environment that many people wanted to be in. So I have my regulars that come all the time, and those are my more serious artists, and they do a majority of the work. They get a % of each sale, and with all the state cuts and funding problems, these sales are very important to them. You know, this allows them to make a simple choice of going out and being able to get a McDonald's hamburger, or, you know, go to the Dollar Tree and buy personal items that they might need. And so to them, to make, you know, $20 even on a paycheck is huge.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Something that
And it makes them feel self-sufficient too.
That's important.
It's very,
Yes.
very important. When people deal with people with special needs, a lot of people want to pacify them, and it's kind of demeaning. And you know, you want them to be self-sufficient and to have pride, you know, just like we all do.
I can imagine, yes, and therefore the programs that you offer do help them achieve that sense of pride and self-esteem and what have you.
Exactly, because if you put their artwork next to artwork of, say, a professional artist, you know, you can't tell. There's no disability in artwork. You cannot tell who did what. So
that's remarkable.
It's very exciting, very exciting.
I know we talked about, well, you didn't bring any art here, well, paintings, I should say, but you did bring some art. And possibly you could just maybe explain a little bit of this and how it came to be.
This stuff right here, the candles, is an example of artwork that's created by things that people drop off. We always take donations, and we have some vintage type jewelry that was unwanted or broken, and we'll take things apart and create things out of. We have purses and bags that are woven on looms, which has been a long haul teaching that skill, but it's a skill that many people enjoy doing. It's relaxing, and so many people can do this.
Now, I should say I asked Beth to bring a loom, or why she didn't bring the loom, but how big is that loom?
Well, I have several looms. She's 3 feet by 3 feet, and probably 2.5 feet tall. So they have foot pedals, and they're.
I guess it's adequate. You brought the product of the artist and those looms. This is really fascinating, and this is very nice. I can see anybody being proud to use this as a handbag. And I'm sure this is just a small sampling
Yes.
of the things that you have to offer, including, and you said the yarns and what have
Yarns
you donated?
are all donated.
Yes.
People drop things off all the time, which we encourage. A lot of times whatever is dropped off at the gallery is determining what we're going to be creating.
Mm-hmm.
That's where my, creative thinking starts, is depending on what gets dropped off, and I get to work thinking.
What are the let's say the age ranges of, you say adults, but
Yes.
what's the age range?
Age 21, and I believe my oldest artist is probably about 70.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can
Large
imagine that's a
range.
lot of years of creating art.
A lot of them, though, didn't have any clue until they started.
Really?
Yes, yes.
So it was, they had latent talents
Exactly.
that suddenly came out, probably somewhat along with that confidence and self-esteem
Yes.
that the
Yes.
organizations helped them achieve. Well, how many employees does the Garden Gallery actually have?
Well, Garden Gallery is owned by Garden Center, where I couldn't tell you how many employees that is. I'm sure well over 50. But the actual gallery itself, there's 2 of us. Myself, and I have an assistant that's, his name is Shannon, and it's just the 2 of us in there. And due to that fact, we always accept volunteers to
I was
come
going
in
to
and
say,
help out.
I would think, so how many, on average, how many volunteers would you say you have?
Right now I have about 2. And
2 volunteers?
Yeah.
They need more volunteers. And let's talk about some promotions that you may have that are coming up, so we don't, run out of time for this
Yeah,
segment.
one thing I'm really excited about is Bettenhausen Fiat was extremely generous, and they donated a little yellow Fiat that's parked right in front of our windows. I know it's struck a lot of curiosity. So this month we're going to start selling raffle tickets. I believe they're $50. They can get them on our website. They could come into the gallery also to get them. And we're going to be raffling off that car. So
When will that raffle take place?
I'm not sure the ending date. I know it'll be, tickets will be sold definitely this month and in February.
All right, so it's going to be tickets through January and February. So I think shortly after that. All right, so we've got that, length of time, the employees, we talked about your typical clients, the organization. I think we pretty much covered everything, but if Beth, is there something in particular that you would like to tell our viewers that you feel might encourage them to come out and check out the art and
Yes.
see? I've been there. It's just amazing. But as a parting gesture to our viewers.
On the first Friday of every month, we have an event from 7 to 9. It's free. We really like to get the public in there then to show off everything we've done for the month. But other than that, anytime during the day that the doors are unlocked, please come in. See my artists at work, take a look around, see what we've got going on, have a cup of coffee, just sit and relax. We really want to bring the public into what we're doing and get people interested in art.
Beth, thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
Well, our next guest, or maybe what I should say before I introduce our next guest is say that if you would like to get in touch with our current guests or any of our previous guests or any chamber members, please go to the Chamber's website at tinleychamber.org or contact the Chamber office at 708-532-5700. And now to our next guest, a relatively new member of the Chamber. We have Aishling Dalton-Kelly, who is the owner of Aishling Companion Homecare. Welcome to our show.
Correct. Thank you very much.
And once again, this in today's day and age, with our aging population, this is a service that there are many and more people are in need of. So without any further ado on my part, Aishling, if you would, please tell us just a little bit about yourself, what inspired you to go into this type of work, and then let's get into the Aishling Companion Home Care Services.
Okay. Well, the inspiration for the business was definitely my own mother and my father, who were very hardworking individuals. I came from a very large family. Family was very important to us. My parents instilled on us to have respect for elderly people at a very young age, so I kind of always had a soft spot for elderly people throughout my life. And they always instilled on us growing up that you treat everybody as you want to be treated yourself. My father passed away at home also, and that was a beautiful memory for us as a family because we brought him to the very end, and it wasn't morbid and sad, it was beautiful.
Oh,
surrounded by his family, and we addressed every need that he had. My mother currently has end-stage dementia and is taken care of by my family still on a daily basis in her home. And that's really important to me also. So definitely they were the inspiration behind the business.
Well, that's wonderful, and I know it's comforting for the aging parent or individual, as
Right.
well as the family members, to
Right.
be able to provide that
Yes.
care. So if you would, though, people, if they're going to call the chamber office and then get in touch with you, they need to know what services you actually provide. So why don't we talk about the different services and who provides them, and some background.
Okay. I am an Illinois Department of Public Health state licensed agency. It's considered private pay. It is companion care, so we are totally non-medical. So the difference between a home service agency and a home health agency is the medical part. So any of the people that I would send to a job, I would basically say personal assistance on a one-to-one level in the home. We don't do medical procedures, insulin shots, blood sugars, anything of that nature we don't do. That's for home health.
No blood pressure stuff or anything like that?
No, we
Okay,
don't offer
all right.
that. It's basically one-on-one.
Okay.
Showering would be a huge part of what we do. Nutrition, good home-cooked meals. Exercising with the elderly, whether it's assisting them outside the house or inside the house. Bed bathing, some clients are restricted to their bed. We would help with transferring, and just the general stuff in getting them out to meet their friends, transportation maybe if they're on dialysis, or doctor's visits, or if they've had an operation, to physical therapy, things of that nature. So basically a one-on-one personal assistance.
What about mobility and what have you? Let's say somebody is not able to move around very much. How are you able to assist them in that?
Okay, well, depending on where the client is at, that would be done as an assessment when you go into the home for the initial visit. We do have Hoyer lifts for bedbound patients if indeed that they would need to be taken out of bed. All the caregivers would be trained in that. And then most of the people that we have are usually pretty good about standing and weight bearing on their own 2 feet.
Okay.
We would assist, of course, in a transfer to a wheelchair or to a car, things of that nature.
Now, you brushed over showering. I mean, we all know bathing and showering is very important, but
Right.
for those people who are challenged in some way, I think you mentioned something about showering only, or
Yes.
showering assistance.
Yes. So what we do when we go out to a house, we do have a 4-hour minimum per time. So if you were to hire me to go see your parent, it would have to be a 4-hour minimum visit. However, there are some people who simply can't afford that, but they do need to be helped because showering is such a huge fall risk.
Sure.
For somebody that has balance issues or that may be a diabetic or that hasn't eaten, may get lightheaded, dizzy. So I want to offer not just our seniors, but people that struggle with that, where we can actually just come in and shower. So our caregiver would show up, would prepare everything for the shower, help that person shower, make sure they're dried properly, they're taken care of, dressed, and then let them go about their business then for the rest of the day.
And I think it's important. We talked about as a woman speaking to the viewers, this is not a service that is available only to women. You tell us a little bit about the staff, the people that you have working.
Okay, so we have caregivers that are both male and female. Again, it would come back to the initial consultation with you and your mom or dad. A man might feel more comfortable with a man assisting him, or a woman might feel more comfortable with a woman. So they are actually given the choice, and we do have both staff members, male and female. All caregivers are background checked, which is mandated by the state of Illinois.
Yes.
By a live scan vendor. We require for each caregiver 3 professional references, and we do check up stringently on all of those. They are trained for a minimum of 6 hours by us, all hands-on, in addition to the assistance of videos and things of that nature. We also put the caregivers in the house with that client one-on-one for 2 to 3 hours before the job starts, so that they are fully aware of what they're doing, how they're going to do it, and we try to form some sort of a relationship before the job actually starts.
Well, we talked briefly about that, where there are some adults who have aging parents,
Yes.
or a friend for that matter,
Right.
who are a little bit uncertain. They know, well, their parent or their aging friend just will not accept that.
Right.
How do you assist them in becoming comfortable with that?
I like to try and put people at ease by going into the home, which is why it's so important to have that home assessment, because sometimes the children don't get anywhere. It becomes an argument between the mom versus the child saying, we don't need anybody, I don't want anybody. When somebody like myself or any of my staff come into the house, we can put them at ease and basically explain to them, we're not taking over your house, we're simply coming in to assist you. And everybody in every walk of life needs help. You're just there ahead of us, and really that is the bottom line. We're all getting older and we're all going to be there someday. And I think it's important that they're put at ease, that somebody is going to come into their home and is actually going to help them, and it's important that they can trust that person. And it's important to me that they feel comfortable with that person. Very important to me, because at their age they are frightened and they don't like change, and they certainly don't like strangers coming into the house.
Don't we know that? Yes.
Yeah.
I think we all, at a certain age, our parents obviously are going to be much older. We see that. They don't like change.
No, they're frightened by it, and that's understandable. And they're used to set things in set ways, and we try to accommodate them in as much as we can by being there to assist them and not overcrowding them. That is the goal of what we like to do for people, is to assist them, not to take over.
Well, Aishling, if you would, maybe speak directly to our viewers with a parting message that may encourage them to contact you through the Chamber office to utilize your services.
Okay, well, my mission statement is very simple. It's 3 words, which I have founded my whole business on, and that's just be home, be happy, and be healthy. And that's what it's all about.
Healthy,
and happy.
and happy.
Yeah, and if I can accomplish those 3 things for your loved one, then I'm successful.
Thank you, Aishling, for
Thank you.
being with us.
Thank you.
And as I stated before, to contact Aishling, Companion Home Care, any of our other guests or Chamber members, contact the Chamber office at 708-532-5700, or go to our Chamber members directory at tinleychamber.org. Well, you know, it's really nice having you with us.
Thanks for having me.
Really.
Appreciate it. Thank you.